ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. Won't stop, come on, take me higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. Won't stop.
From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the Closing Bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the Closing Bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Friday night Closing Bell. Love this spot with me and Mr. Southside Riley. Talk about tonight's action. Again, it's payday. What does it mean? Fade the public Friday. Don't be the pizza man. We'll get into that. A few moves being moved right now, Riley, in the MLB. We'll talk about starting this show. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships. WagerWire, of course. Go over to Google Play, download that app. It's free. Had a great 3 days in a row with Travis Geiger live from the Paris Olympics. So glad we could be there front row with Travis and his laptop and his, what is it called, his Pro-Go and all this. We were right front stage here for all the action the last 3 days. Hope to do it the last 2 days as well, that he's there through Sunday. And of course, Viva Tequila Seltzer releases a new flavor today, coconut. Hey, CT Bets, I'm cuckoo for coconuts. Get on back here. Let's try some coconut Viva Tequila Seltzer. So without further ado, let's bring in the co-host of this show, Mr. Riley Magnuson. What's up, champ?
What is up, my friend? Happy Friday evening. Ready to rock and roll. You said it. It's that time of the week, Fade the Public Friday. But we also gotten some last 24 hours, last 16 to 24 hours, gotten some big MLB news. Wouldn't be surprised if we get something while we're still on the show here, and obviously going to get some news these next few days, the rest of the way here before this trade deadline. We've also, probably aren't going to talk too much about the Olympics, but obviously the Olympics opening ceremony is rolling off today. And obviously, we've got some UFC coming up this weekend that I'm pretty damn excited about overseas as well. So it is a solid little weekend here. We've got a golf tournament. We've been talking obviously a lot of golf every single week. We can mention it obviously, but the heavy hitters aren't in the field and aren't the big names that are in the field aren't doing too much yet. So. Probably not going to be the most watched event this weekend as compared to the last few weeks, but either way, we'll be gearing up for all things coming up this next week and a half or so, but especially today's show, we're talking all things Friday and Saturday evening, my friend.
Yeah, and we don't get to toot our own horns very often, but as soon as I saw that the Dodgers had released James Paxton due to Kershaw coming back, and I think they had someone else come back, I immediately sent out, I think it was actually even on our show, I know a lot of people reached out to me. I says, you can mark it, book it. James Paxton will be a Red Sox, and sure enough today, He is a Red Sox, and we haven't had a chance to talk. The shocker of all shockers, yesterday, Alex Cora, a 3-year extension. Now, I will start the show with this because he was dead man walking. They bring in Craig Breslow, and it was almost like they were grooming Alex, because Alex has made it known his managing days are numbered. He wants to go upstairs. Now they bring in Craig Breslow, and this, usually when you bring a new GM in, he gets to pick his coach or manager, and he wasn't allowed to. We're going to allow Alex, because the Red Sox had punted on this year. They want to groom the kids, and some of them have blossomed and shined. Rafael, Duran, Cassis is on the men to be back. I heard September, but now he's cranking it up. He might be back early to mid-August. But my point here is they give him a 3-year, 7.25 each year. And one of the locals, good friend and colleague, Matt McCarthy, who's on 98.5 today, brought up a good point. They gave Chaim Bloom a 5-year deal, and basically year 4 is the do or die year. So now they coincide Breslow's deal with the Cora 3-year deal, saying, hey, here's what I think happened, Riley. Alex, here's your 3-year deal. Take it. We're going to kind of be buyers and sellers. I'm still going to take this one till Tuesday at whatever the deadline is. I think Jansen's gone. They want to cut payroll. If someone wants Tyler O'Neill, I think he's gone. They want to cut payroll. And if someone wants Nick Pivetta, boom, he's gone too. In comes James Paxton. Maybe Fetty comes, or if they get the right deal for an Evaldi. But they said, Alex, you've done a great job with these guys. If you want to stick and stay, here you go. Here's your 3 years. But just, we're not going after Crochet. We're not going to be able to get any of the big-time players. So take it or leave it, and he took it.
And he did, and I think it's, obviously you're closer to the situation than I am, but they're in an interesting spot where, like you said, they're not going to be a fire sale spot right now, and they're not going to be, despite obviously a much better season than you guys had anticipated. They're not going to be heavy buyers by any means. So I'm curious to see what the off seasons the next couple of years hold, as opposed to the trade deadline here, because I think they've kind of moved to that point of not dishing out all those prospects like they had once upon a time, and then, I think the question becomes, do they get back to heavy spending like they have, obviously, the last, 15-plus years, and bringing in some big names, free agents that way. So I'm curious to see how that goes for you guys over there. But things are hot and heavy today. Obviously, last night, big trade. We talked about the Rays we talked about last time the Rays as a potential team that's going to be shelling out some guys. And last night, obviously, and now today, 2 gigantic moves. Rosarina to Seattle, which if that gives them a little fresh breath of air, that's a huge signing for them. That could be a massive shifter for the AL race in the AL playoffs there. And then obviously Zach Eflin on the move as well is a big one, who obviously is not he's a very good starter. He's not going to be your series shifting probably kind of guy, but at his best, I mean, he could be that kind of X factor dark horse pitching force in Zach Eflin there. We've seen him obviously with some success in the past. So interested to see if we've got anything else from the Rays beyond those 2 moves, I guess is where I'm going with this.
Well, Jaime Garcia to the Mariners from the Jays. There. So I knew Randy Rosarina was linked to the Mariners. Probably, in my eyes, a little too late, even though they have the pitching to hang around. I don't think, unless you get Randy from the World League, or you get Randy from that playoff run, that type of production maybe to stop the bleeding. It looks like the Astros, who have now passed them, will just be adding on as well as they get some healthy pitchers back. So I think that it's too late for Seattle, which again, I could be wrong there. My question to you is, usually you don't trade in the divisions, and the Rays don't have a problem with it. The Jays don't. Jaime's gone. I've heard Kikuchi is another potential name to the Red Sox here, so it'd be interesting if they make that move. But my question to you is the Eflin deal. 1 more year next year at $18 million for the Orioles. Corbin Burns having a great year. Free agent next year. Now is the Eflin at 18 and Corbin's going to cost you 32, 33, whatever it costs you? Is that more of an insurance policy, or is this, do you think the O's, don't worry, Corbin, we're going to extend you next year? So if they paid him 35 a year and they got Eflin at 18, so there's two horses right there with Grayson, with whatever else they can fill in the blanks with. Or do you think that's an insurance policy?
I don't know that it's an insurance policy. I mean, it could be a little bit of both, I guess, is kind of the answer. It could be a little bit of insurance as well as, trying to make this rotation as deep as possible. And, we've seen the evolution of how pitchers are handled in the MLB playoffs the last few years. And, I mean, you could be talking about some of these guys starting twice in a series, or you could be talking about a guy, maybe Burns gets 2-3 starts in a 7-game series, and a guy like Eflin is stepping into a 4 or 5 inning bullpen role in some of these games, relief role in some of these games. So I think the more arms that are playoff pitching have playoff pitching experience that can go into different types of roles. I mean, so I think it's a little of both, a little insurance as well as trying to just make this pitching staff as dynamite as can be. Because I mean, obviously they've got all the belief in the world in a lot of this team here. So. You got a chance to add some arms and add some talent. I think you gotta jump on it. I'm as someone who 2-3 years ago when the White Sox 2020, 2021 had some playoff teams, would have loved to add someone like Eflin to whether they really needed it right away or not. Would have loved something like that for those playoff teams those couple of years.
Well, so let me rephrase this. I think a starting rotation of Burns, Rodriguez, Eflin is great for a 5-7 game series. I guess when I meant insurance, I'll take it to the next step, meaning if you lose Corbin Burns next year to a 5-year deal worth, let's say 35 times 5, 180, you at least can start with Eflin, who's 18, because it's not a big free agent market, I think, for pitching next year. So I was, I guess, saying insurance, meaning if you lose Burns, at least you got Eflin and Rodriguez that can build from there.
Sure. No, I can agree with that 100%. Yeah, because, I mean, obviously Corbin Burns, barring anything drastic, is going to be a big name in that. And even in a stacked market, he would be a big name in whatever free agent market. But like you said, it's probably going to be a slimmer one, and he's probably going to be commanding some big offers. So I agree with you, yeah. You want to obviously continue to, whether it be bolster that rotation. If they can keep all of them, then fantastic. But if not, you've got some options going forward. So yeah, I think it does a lot of things for him and gives him flexibility in a lot of different ways.
News yesterday, Mason Miller, being the young guy that he is, and the kids, out of frustration, bangs his non-pitching hand into a padded bench or something and did something to his pinky, immediately on the 15-day DL. Thoughts moving forward? Again, it's not his pitching hand, so it's his glove hand. I don't know what that means. Maybe it shortens the price. He was one of the headliners, because we'll get to your White Sox in a second here, what the PR and what the agent's saying. If you were the Phillies, who, again, Mason Miller took their private jet to the All-Star game, it was kind of given that the Phillies, that was their guy. Of course, we know that the Dodgers and the Orioles are in there as well. Are you still buying Miller? I mean, especially if you're one of the top dogs here, even though he's got a dislocated, broken, or whatever the pinky is.
Yeah, I think so, because I guess I don't know off the top of my head what the asking price for him is, but even if it's, I guess it depends what team it is. If you're a team that's on the fringe and you're trying to add to your rotation and you don't know how long this guy's going to be out for, and you need him ASAP and you need him for all of August to try and get yourself into the playoffs, then I might be out on it. But for a team that has serious anticipations of being deep playoff run teams, I think I'm still in on him, and I think you give him a chance there. So I am still in on Miller, and I think somebody's going to make a move for him.
All right, so now the South Side. Garrett Crochet, we talked about this. Now a guy that didn't pitch for a year, then he threw 24 innings the next year. Now they're extending him into the starter. He's had a great year. And the good thing about Mr. Crochet is that you have him all locked up for a handful of years afterward. Now in comes the agent, because we talked about the inning restrictions here.
Yep.
Hey, guys, if you're buying my guy here, for a playoff run, which means that you want him pitching deep into October, we're talking, I don't know, 150, 160, 170 innings, wherever he's at. If you get him in a trade, he's not pitching unless you give him the extension now. Almost like saying, hey, guys, in the middle of October in the NL or AL Championship or the World Series, don't be afraid if that arm and shoulder doesn't blow up here, but we want to make sure my guy is paid.
Right, and you understand where he's coming from as far as trying to get that guaranteed money, because it is I think he recognizes if he were to be pitching deep into October, that would be a lot of tax on an arm that hasn't been used. But obviously, I heard someone else saying this. How is that going to go over in the clubhouse if you bring in a guy and then he's just not going to pitch in October if he's, by all things considered healthy there. So, I think it's a bizarre situation. I'm sure, whether or not it's 100% on the agent saying this or him. I would probably put that more on the agent as opposed to Crochet himself there. But at the end of the day, I think he mentioned he'd prefer to not be out of the bullpen also. So it's a bizarre situation, because if you're the White Sox and you think he's going to stick around for a while, you're almost at a point where if you don't trade him, then you're shutting him down for the rest of the season. So he's in obviously a bizarre spot. I hope that – and obviously the White Sox aren't just going to take pennies on the dollar because whoever he's going to might not get him for a playoff run or injury riddled there or injury prone. So – it's a bizarre situation, and I still lean towards him getting moved. I know I've heard other people say they think he probably isn't going to get moved now, but if you're a team that's still serious enough about it, the issue with anyone who's trading for him should want to have him for the long haul, assuming they think he's going to be healthy for the foreseeable future. It's just the fact that you already have him on a team friendly contract situation for the next few years, and so you're trading for a guy who you can have for a pretty low price here these next I don't know what it is exactly, another 2 years or 3 years. So there probably wasn't much incentive for whoever's getting him to make a deal that quick for him there, but I guess I don't know what happens. I'm going to lean towards him still getting moved, but and if he goes somewhere, I imagine he will be pitching in October. I do not think he's going to just bow out of the playoff race if he doesn't get a contract.
Well, I'm going to step in and be GM here, because I got a kid that's came out of the sea and has been lights out. He actually, in April and May, were putting Fanny in the seats when it was 38 degrees there. And I was watching him against the Braves when they had a full lineup, mowing that damn team down. And I saw the standings today, and you're 35 damn games out, okay? I didn't see Frank Thomas in that lineup. I didn't see Paul Konerko in that lineup, okay? Even a young Jose Abreu, okay? So it's very simple here, guys, and if you need some help here, I'll give you my cell phone number. You get rid of all your assets and you keep the young kids. So if you can get pennies on the dollar for Kopech, you do it. I'm sorry, Mr. Roberts. I'm sorry, but you know what? We're going in a different direction right now, so I am going to field offers in. I'm sorry I'm shipping them. I think of keeping Fetty. I like what he's done. I'm not going to take pennies on the dollar for Fetty, because he's a typical... Some teams that are buying but aren't all in, I'm not going to satisfy your palate right now because you don't want to spend big bucks on some other guys. So you're not getting them for pennies on the dollar there, okay? I drafted Hagen Smith. Maybe not next year, but the year after. I want to pair him with Mr. Crochet. I'd love to have back-to-back lefties coming at your asses, okay? But it's a lost year. Don't compile it and bow down to the rings here.
Right. No, 100%. And again, you've talked about Hagen being the replacement for Crochet. if they aren't getting the right offers, Crochet, then keep him, and they could have a very, very good rotation. Maybe not next year, but the year after that. I do think they trade Fedde, though. I mean, he's 31 years old, and this is the most successful year of his career. So I'll go and say I think they should trade Fedde, and maybe it's my what my hope for what Robert would be. I mean, he's still only 26 years old. If they're getting a legitimate offer for him, where you can get more than one prospect that you think could be in the big league club within a couple of years, then I say absolutely, I'm with you. I'd trade him. If not, then I'm still keeping him and hoping he can be the cornerstone of the team there. Kopech, again, I'll take anything, just about anything for Kopech. The other guy, I doubt there's much of. There's been no rumblings whatsoever. I'd take anything from Yoan Moncada. I drive him all the way to Boston to give him back to you for a couple $100,000 out of cash considerations for what it's worth myself, if I could there. So. There's going to be some trades. There is going to be some trades, and yeah, I hope they aren't bowing down. The interesting thing about it is we just don't know. Chris Getz, the new general manager, we just don't know what his type of tendencies, aggressiveness is, because he's a rookie GM, and he was a guy who was the head of player development that wasn't, as far as an organization developing their players, wasn't that successful. So. I don't know what to expect out of the front office right now with this new GM staff. So from that, I don't have an inclination of what they might do, but they are going to make some trades here, and at least 3-4 guys are going to get moved here.
And I'll close with this is the Roberts thing again. When I looked at your team a couple years ago before Abreu just broke down, the fact that you had Luis Roberts, you had Eloy, you had a cluster there. We were still waiting on Moncada. We were waiting on Kopech. There was something there, and when a team just is out of the race, not even at Memorial Day, I start to wonder. The guys you bring back, they got to be the right character guys. And no disrespect to Roberts, because I'm not in the clubhouse. He's a 5-tool guy. I love what he brings, but I don't know if after what he has gone through, if a change of scenery doesn't help him, because I'm not giving him away. But in the same token, it was almost like that Washington deal I keep going back to. The Dodgers wanted Max, and Washington says, well, you can have Max, but you got to take Trey. So they had a 5-prospect deal for Crochet, and people didn't want to pay that price tag. Well, there's teams now like the Dodgers that says, hey, we'll pay that price tag, but you got to throw in Roberts. And while you're throwing in Roberts, throw in Kopech too. So that's why I'm saying if you're going to get what you want for Crochet, is it worth giving up Roberts and Kopech as well?
I personally, I don't know, because I still believe, and I kind of agree with you as far as the character of Robert. Again, I'm not in there too. He's not the most vocal guy. He's not going to be that, get your, rally the teammates type of guy. So from that standpoint, I think a change of scenery probably would light a fire under him and turn him around. I guess where I'm at is I think you would be selling very, very low on what I think he should be, and even if it's bringing him back on a necessarily bad team next year, I think there's a chance that his numbers could turn around and be alone a commodity that would bring you some prospects. Where I think if you threw him in like that, like you're saying, obviously if that's what has to get done to get a very, very good deal done, then I'm with you 100%. But I guess I'm more on the standpoint of I think he could turn things around at some point in the future and be a guy that commands not a 5 prospect deal, but a good deal nonetheless for some prospects in the future potentially. I guess that's where I'm at with it.
Full slate in the MLB tonight. A lot of games. Headline: Atlanta playing the Mets, and the slide just continues. A misplayed ball out in right field yesterday. The Braves just can't win a game, and I talked about you lose Strider, you lose Acuna, and now you lose Albies for 2 months. At some point, there's you can't plug all the holes. In comes Senga, his debut this week. an overnight number of 130 against Ground Chuck and Charlie Morton here. I know a lot of people running to the window punching their Mets cards. This team, I said 6 weeks ago, hey guys, there's a San Francisco backer here. Hey, let's send over Pete Alonso. Let's send over Mr. Diaz. Let's get the trumpets playing in San Fran. Well, it's the Mets, believe it or not, just 3 games behind the Braves, brother.
It's honestly unbelievable, and you'd still probably feel like the Braves could figure something out and get something going here. But I mean, this Mets team, yeah, they're chipping away at it. Whether it's their own doing and a combination of their own doing and this Braves team sliding back. I mean, if this series goes the Mets' way, more than just it's a 4-game series, they play all the way through Sunday. I mean, if this is a 3 out of 4 series, I mean, I think the sweat is amplified quite a bit there in Atlanta there. So. As far as tonight is concerned, I mean, obviously Charlie Morton is a very hit-or-miss guy. Last time out, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 unearned run against the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't believe he's faced the Mets since early May, and actually had a pretty successful outing. So I don't know where you're at with this one. I mean, the total is 7.5. So typically, I don't know, a pretty good sign in a Charlie Morton start that things might be okay for Charlie Morton at the very least. Would you agree?
Well, I'm going to ask you, with all your wizardry, I saw 2-3 days ago as this slide was going on, the Braves were minus 2,800 to make the playoffs. Do you have a site anywhere where you can find me the Braves not to make the playoffs number?
Ooh, that might be, I guess I don't know that. Let's see.
I know I'm asking a lot because
I think DraftKings might have this here. So the Mets, as I'm going down, Mets to make the playoffs, yes, minus 115, no, minus 105. Braves to make the playoffs now, yes, minus 500, no, plus 380.
So again, a little late to the party. It was early in the week. They were minus 2,800 to make the playoffs. What are they not to make the playoffs?
Plus 380 right now.
Hey, listen, guys, pizza and beer. It's Friday. It's pizza and beer. Plus 380 not to make the playoffs. And I'll book stamp this one, 7/26 at 5:49 p.m. Braves not to make the playoffs, plus 380. You got that one right there, Riley, okay?
I like it. I mean, you've got they're only a game and a half up. They're in that top wild card spot. They're only a game and a half up of the outside looking end, which is St. Louis right now. You got St. Louis who could string some things together. You've still got some teams that, obviously haven't been what we expected to this point, but still could get a little hot here. So I don't think it's crazy, my friend. I do not think that's crazy at all to throw that one out there, though. So you've got in your neck of the woods Yankees and Red Sox tonight. Nestor Cortez and Brian Bayo. He has not been obviously all that great this season, but last couple turning things, maybe not turning things around, but steadying a little bit, I guess you would say. His record, despite the amount of runs he's given up, is actually pretty solid there for Bayo there. Yankees minus 125 on the road here. Cortez last time out, 4 1/3. He played his last 2 starts were each against the Rays. They shelled him up pretty good both times. 4 1/3 in both of those starts, 5 and 6 earned runs in each of those last 2 against the Rays. Are we feeling a bounce back Nestor Cortez start, or is the slide continuing for Nestor?
It's like heel. I don't know which Cortez, and like Bello. Bello's that box of chocolates. I think he probably leads the major leagues or damn near close for run support. And I tell you, he had a game this year that he had like 10 strikeouts, and then there was probably 6 walks in between, and he gave up 8 runs. I mean, it's just crazy. And I know he has not pitched well at home. So kind of surprising that the Yankees are favorites. It's a 9.5. You know I'm not that guy that just says take the over and have fun with it. I'm looking at the team totals as we speak. And it's lighting up like a Christmas tree because we're talking about them right now. They do listen, guys. You can get the Yankees team total over 4.5. It costs you 35 cents. So if you like the Yankees today to win the game and you want to lay the 25 cents, God bless you. But if you like them and you say, hey, get to 5 and I don't care who wins the game, you can go that route. And the Red Sox team total 4.5 juiced under minus 125. So again, the Sox give Bello a lot of run support. So if you want to grab the plus 105, I think it is, on them to win the game, God bless you. If you're running that route, I'd rather have you run to the window for them to get to 5 or better, and you can get that at the same price, plus 105. So if you like the Sox today, I'd rather have you take them at plus 105 to get to 5 or better. And if you like the Yankees today, you want to lay the 120, God bless you. But I would rather have you lay the 125 and have them get to 5 and don't worry about who wins.
Right, and sometimes you get those seasons where a guy will just, and it goes both ways. You get an absurd amount of run support, or you get an absurd amount of no support. He's got 11 starts where the Red Sox have won. He's got 10 decision wins. He's got 11 starts where they have won, so only one win where he didn't get the decision win. Out of those 11 games, only one of them was a win where they won 3-2 in early May. All of those other 10 wins have been 5 or more runs scored for Bello there. So pretty wild stuff there. Obviously, he's got a few losses where they didn't do it for him, but you're right. He has gotten some generous help there. Interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to stick to it, and he's been good to us of late. A name that I think the Sox, if they can, will move. I'm going to go with the Tyler O'Neill bomb tonight. What do you got for a number?
Tyler O'Neill bomb, 290 plus 290.
That's the go number. I gave him out on our show a few nights ago. He was plus 270 in Colorado, and he hit not one but 2 bombs. So, yes, Tyler O'Neill home run at plus 290 tonight, sir.
I like it. I will save mine here for a minute. Interesting series here, Cubs and Royals. Cubs look like they were trying to get out of their little slide there. They end up losing 2 out of 3 to Milwaukee in a critical spot. They have, for all intents and purposes, still not quite gotten back out of this little funk. Kyle Hendricks on the mound versus Brady Singer for the Royals. Brady Singer last time out, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. He has been really, really solid for the Royals here this year. Kyle Hendricks, he's been a lot better this month. He's obviously got some ugly numbers still on this season, but he has turned things around. The 5 hits or less in each of the last 2 starts here. 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a couple of bombs given up into the Diamondbacks, but limited some runs there. But you've got the Royals minus 155 at home here tonight. I don't know, fair number, or would you have expected more for Brady Singer with him on the mound here tonight?
It's the Cubs. They're a lightning rod. I talked to our producer, Noah, who works for the Royals as well. Sold out. Everyone was called in 8 hours early. This place is going to be rocking. Royals versus Cubs. And you're spot on with Hendricks. We were feasting on opponents' team total overs, and he's been that Kyle Hendricks, like, damn, where's this coming from? I think the regression actually probably comes from both sides here. You can get the Cubs team total over 4.5 plus 120. So I really like that number. I like the Cubs to get to 5 today there. And then it's funny because you got to lay 20 cents on Kansas City. So here's how I break this down. If you like Kansas City today, I say you go to the first 5, you minus the hook, hope that the Royals are winning by 1 or more there, and you get out of Dodge early. I don't want you laying minus 147. I do know some people that have the Royals minus 1.5 full game tonight and a little plus money there. I don't like giving up that guaranteed 3 outs at home unless they're losing or tied and you get that 2 or 3 run bomb or grand slam. So I'm a little hesitant there. You can get them to get to 5 or better today, and you got to lay 20 cents. So I'd rather have you lay the 20 cents and have them get to 5 or better and no mas. Like last night, the ECSI VIPs, Angels team total over 4.5 plus 115 or 120 last night. We put up a 5 spot in the second. We cashed the ticket. They lose 6-5. So I didn't care. I turned the game off. I didn't care. We got our 5. Thank you, Halos, and we move on. So that's the beauty of the team totals.
Oh, 100%. I mean, This next one that we'll talk about is an interesting one for sure. But yeah, you don't care when you're rooting for a team that heavily. It's almost I always laugh about it. It's a little different, but in basketball, you root for a team. Let's say you got plus 4.5. You root for them for 39 minutes and 58 seconds, and then the other team's inbounding the ball with a tie game, and you're rooting for the other team in the last 2 seconds to hit the shot so it doesn't go to OT. A little different, but then you don't care about that team's win or loss. In this case, you're not rooting for either side at that point. But yeah, you could care less at that point. So that's the beauty of the team totals there on the overs at least. So. Interesting one, kind of bouncing around time-wise here, but Padres and Orioles. Padres, Dylan Cease no yesterday. Now the short trip from D.C. to Baltimore. You've got this Orioles team minus 200 against a Padres team that's playing really well. Grayson Rodriguez on the mound against Adam Mazur. Is this number after the no-no, after the way the Padres are playing, at first kind of surprised me a little bit, but then you got some respect for Grayson Rodriguez, and you've got Adam Mazur on the mound, rookie for San Diego, who has, let's just say, things have not been kind to him in his rookie season here so far. They've been letting him go, and he gets 3, 4, 5 innings deep into this thing, but last 3 times out, 4+ runs allowed. A couple of bombs given up last time in Seattle. Are you more impressed by the respect to Grayson Rodriguez or the lack of respect over here for Adam Mazur?
I think it's a Grayson number. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say Grayson is leaking oil. I think his last handful of starts, he's had some rough ones. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
So last one he evened back out. He had 6 and 8 runs allowed in the 2 before that against the Yankees. I think it would have been before the All-Star break. 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. So ugly there. Last time out, 6 innings, locked it down for 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. So he did bounce back. For the most part, I didn't watch it obviously, so I don't know what happened in it. But for the most part, it looked like he bounced back there in that last one.
So thanks to Dylan Cease. Geez, why can't the White Sox get pitchers like that? The bullpen's fresh. Everyone's fresh here. Padres playing great ball. Padres looking pretty good to get into that wild card spot. Only way I can suggest here, very simply, if you like the Orioles, again, get into the first 5 minus the hook there. I don't know what the number is. It's probably, you're still laying a little juice, probably around 20 cents. But I think that, am I right?
Yeah, you're asking. I'm sorry. The team total over is what you're asking about.
No. First 5 minus the hook.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see here. I was going to say the team total for the Orioles was a hefty price, I believe. First 5 innings. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. This is going to take me a second to find here. Because the team total was 4.5, juice way over, minus 135. So I was thinking that's where you're heading there. But today on the first 5 minus the hook, it is minus 140 now.
Yeah, so again, they're not allowing you to get in nicely today. So I guess the only way is they're teasing you. I'm looking at one site here. You can get Baltimore team total over 4.5, minus 35 cents. They're teasing you with the Padres, too. Here's the funniest. The Padres team total over 3.5, minus 20 cents. Yet I'm getting a flat 9 on the under-over. Was juiced over, now under at the Circa. This has got written on it to me 6-3 all day. I think Baltimore gets there. I don't want to get cute and coy with the minus the hook in the first 5. If you like Baltimore today, here's what I suggest. 2 ways. And I said I wouldn't do it on the first time. And their back end's been so bad, so I'm going to backstep that. Corbin Burns had a 6-1 lead, and they had to go to extras. So I was going to say, here's the time to play the full 1.5, full game. I'm backing off. Their back end so bad. If you like Baltimore today, team total over 4.5, and I'll lay the 35 cents. And that's how I'd play that.
Yep, there you go. And I will stay here for my home run prop out of this one off of, the guy that is Missouri over there. I'll go Anthony Santander plus 370 to hit a bomb here. He has got a 6 or 7 game hit streak, all out of the All-Star break there. Had a homer yesterday. So I'll go Santander for home run number 29 of the season, maybe 29 and 30. Maybe he gets 30 tonight. I don't know. But I'll go Anthony Santander tonight.
What is Gunnar Henderson?
Gunnar Henderson, 390.
How about Rashman?
Adley Rushman is 6-1, 600.
All right, I'm going to keep my Tyler O'Neill at
Yep.
plus 290 there.
I'll admit I like yours better than mine, but I'll stick with my Santander, yeah.
Scotty comes on in about 13 minutes
Yeah.
here. I'm going to go to this game here. I want your thoughts on it. Dodgers travel to Houston. Houston with a 1-game lead now on Seattle, who, again, is bringing in some reinforcements. Again, I think it's too late, but we'll see. Mr. Valdez versus Mr. Stone. Overnight number, Houston minus 120, still minus 120 with an 8.5. Dodgers team total 3.5 over minus 30 cents. Houston team total under 4.5 minus 45 cents. I got an 8.5 here. Two things. Surprised that Houston's minus 120. That's number one. Valdez, again, has been hit or miss. I have not been impressed with Mr. Valdez this year. Second of all, you can get the Dodgers at a dog price. That's number two. Number three, their team total, just to get to 4, you only have to lay 30 cents. I like Houston team total over 4.5. I think they get to 5 or better. I think they're starting to smell it. I said, we're back in first. We got the deadline. We got some starting pitching coming back. We're going to make a couple moves here, and they're going to give me plus 125 for the Astros to get to 5 or better tonight.
I am with you, and I agree with you. He hasn't. This is the least impressed I've been by him since I've been following him. I have been a big. Framber Valdez has been very, very good to me over the last few years here, and so whenever I see the, man, are we surprised to see the Astros like this? I kind of lean towards it being all Framber Valdez on the mound here tonight. So I'm surprised a little bit, obviously, because you have the Dodgers coming into town, and the Astros. It's almost the Astros' pitching staff gets that boost whenever the team starts rolling along like that, and now you get start after start where guys are kind of handed it off one by one, and they start to really catch some momentum there. Like you said, not quite as sharp as we've seen him, but last time out only 3 hits allowed for Valdez. So I think you could start to see a little Valdez hot streak. I am with you on going the Astros team total route though, because I think Gavin Stone can be gotten to. And you never know this year with the way Valdez is going, so it could be a 5-4 type game when it's all said and done. Valdez, just going through the lineup, Shohei, this has been one of Shohei's guys that he does not enjoy seeing. 4 for 34 lifetime, 12 Ks. So it's been rough sledding for Shohei against Valdez here. So that maybe helps a little bit to what we're talking about here and the success of Valdez here tonight. Hernandez is really the one guy that's had some good success against Valdez here. So I'll go with a good Valdez start, and I'll go with you. Astros get some runs, but I'll go a 5-2 Astros win will be my prediction on this one tonight.
And what do I get for Mr. Alvarez bomb?
Alvarez bomb, never a bad choice. Let's see, you are at. Yordan Alvarez, 330 plus 330.
I'll take it. I'll take so we got a 290 on an O'Neill bomb, and we got 330 on an Alvarez bomb.
I like it, and nobody else really. I think the next closest would be Teoscar at 450 for at least the game itself there. Alvarez, pretty easy favorite out of that one for this game.
And I'm going to say this. There was a guy in the offseason that the Red Sox could have had, and they were just like, we'll pass. And the Dodgers just swooped in. And I was talking to all my fantasy guys before the season started. I was like, they're giving you... Manny Ramirez was a professional hitter. J.D. Martinez is a professional hitter. Teoscar Hernandez is a professional hitter.
Oh, 100%. I've been a fan of his since he was with the Blue Jays, and I was surprised that they let him go as easily as they did there. Obviously, had a lot of other guys that they thought they were going to have to pay, but no, and like you said, I'm good to wrap that up right there with baseball tonight because we got to obviously make way for Scotty Webb there. So I don't know if you want to touch real quick on a couple UFC thoughts here, and then we get on out of here for the evening.
Yep. The closing thoughts are yours, and they are in the Octagon. UFC 304 in Manchester. The Octagon is yours, sir.
Well, I'll tie you into this first one because you and I were talking about this one backstage. The first fight of the night on the prelims, Sean O'Bannon and Alice Aldrelian. Interesting situation here because Alice Aldrelian, I honestly don't know how to pronounce her name. This will be her first UFC fight, kind of a late replacement here against Bannon, who, as you and I were talking, she's 5-1. She is coming off a loss in her last fight, which was about a year ago. So it's been about a year since she's been in the Octagon. But she fought a couple times in 2023. I mean, this is only her second UFC fight. And so to your point, yeah, we were talking, why is this one only minus 190 for a girl who's 5-1? Hasn't had too many issues as far as her professional career. And we're talking about a girl coming in who's never fought in the UFC Octagon herself. Why is this one only minus 190 or 180, whatever range you're seeing it on? And I think, maybe there's some unanswered questions on Bannon here. So I don't have the answers too much here because I obviously know nothing about, her opponent in this one because she's never fought in the UFC. I've never seen her fight. But maybe a buyer beware altogether on this one. I'm not saying you dive in on the dog in this one, but, Sean O'Bannon, maybe this one is, winner. I don't know what her contract is, but winner stays in the UFC and loser gets shipped out of here next chance they get.
Yeah, and again, that number was as low as 155, and it just smelt a little to me. Again, the prelims before the fights, before the main card. So, again, good eyes there. I like where your eyes were there.
Yeah, the next one that I'm pretty excited for in the flyweight fight, I believe that's still a prelim fight. Mohamed Mokaev against, again, I'm terrible with pronunciations. Mokaev versus Kape, I believe it is. Cape, I don't know, honestly.
No, it's Kape. I got
yeah.
scolded. I got scolded there. Yeah.
He did. Yeah. I was going to say, until Bruce Buffer gives the pronunciation, sometimes these guys don't fight more than twice a year. So I'm better with remember seeing them and watching tape and looking at numbers than I am remembering their own names here. So, but anyways, this is a really, really good fight. Mokaev is undefeated, 12-0. He's kind of that next guy coming up in the flyweight division. He's the 6th ranked fighter in that division. Kape number 8 in that division. So this is a pretty big fight as far as breaking through into that top 5, top 4. Some of the names Brandon Moreno's 2 in that division. Kai Kara France 4 in that division. So either one of these guys, if they win this fight, especially 12-0, if Mokaev is able to win this fight and stay undefeated, could be 1 or 2 fights away if he keeps winning from a title fight potentially here. So I was a little surprised that Mokaev is only minus 175 here. I believe this one opened up. Where did this one open up? Looking at too many numbers. Mokaev. This one opened up a lot closer, about minus 120 from what I understand in Mokaev's favor. Has been kind of bet up to minus 165, 175. So I am on the side of Mokaev. He's won half of his fights by submission. So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting fight altogether. But he can win this thing in a lot of different ways. He's going to, he's got a high takedown average. As far as getting points that way. So, but Kape is no scrub by any means. He's on a fight win streak of his own. Hasn't lost in a few years himself here. Doesn't have that type of name roster of guys that he's ran through there. So I am going to lean towards. I think the numbers are accurate there for Mokaev, but I'll go Mokaev by submission. He gets it done by submission. I think the by decision was the favored winning method there. He's plus 120 to win by decision, plus 380 to win by submission. So I'll take a little swing on some plus 380. For what it's worth, Kape to win by KO, plus 450, decision 320 there. So, I mean, the odds are saying that this one goes to decision, but I do think if it finishes, it'll be a Mokaev submission there.
I agree with your eyes are there, and let's take it off to the fight everyone wants to talk about, and that's Muhammad and Edward. You know, a poke in the eye, a Three Stooger event, gets them back in the ring. As you would say, Leon is a bad man, but I'm hearing a lot of people like the dog here, Riley.
Yeah, and I think it's because I mean he's Belal Muhammad's been running through some guys that haven't that are kind of just past their prime a little bit here, I would say. I mean, it's Stephen Thompson, Gilbert Burns. I mean, had he fought those guys at their peak, he would have gotten a lot more respect for it. But this is a guy who hasn't, he's got that draw against Leon a few years ago. He hasn't lost an actual fight, though, in about 5.5 years, I think it is. So this dude's kind of a bad man in and of himself here. The interesting thing, though, is he doesn't get a ton of respect because he doesn't knock many people out. He's got a knockout against Sean Brady 2 fights ago, but before that, you got to go all the way back to 2016 to get his his last knockout. He's only got a couple in the UFC itself. So, if he's winning this fight, he might just have to beat Leon altogether here. And the interesting thing about Leon, he is a bad man. But I mean, obviously, he wins the belt against Usman on a kind of not a kind of. He was getting his behind whooped by Kamaru Usman, who was still at the peak of his powers, until Leon, a headshot bang, and down Usman goes. And then Usman wasn't quite that same in that second fight. And then Colby Covington, who was a bad man, by himself, also not quite at the prime of what he was 3-4 years ago. Covington's fights against Usman. Usman was obviously the better fighter, but Covington was the clear, 2 or 3 guy in that division and was better than all these guys for a while. And then, Leon Edwards catches him at the right time. So I'm not saying I'm all the way in on Belal Muhammad, because obviously I've got some love for him for being a Chicago guy. But at the end of the day, I do put this fight closer than these odds are suggesting, just based off Edwards kind of, falling into place in some of these matchups at the right time. Belal Muhammad he's not a flashy fighter by any means. So if Leon Edwards wins, I think this could be almost maybe even a split decision or majority decision and not a unanimous decision. I'd be shocked if Leon Edwards embarrasses him or whoops his behind for 5 rounds here. I think this is going to be a really, really close fight. Not saying Leon Edwards can't win, not saying he isn't going to win, but I think Belal Muhammad is going to give him a much, much better fight than some of these odds are suggesting here.
For everyone back east, those fights are in Manchester, England. So I think the fights before the fights probably start around high noon, and then excuse me, then you'll get the prelims, and then of course the main card pay-per-view. If you haven't seen our show, you can go back on Thursday, 3 p.m. Gam Lou comes in and broke down a handful of fights there. Scotty Webb on deck here, no pun intended, literally in the batter's box. It's been a hell of a week. Keep your eyes and ears open for ECSI and WagerWire live in Paris again tomorrow and potentially Sunday. Hell of a week, Riley. Keep up the great work. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson1. We wished everyone a blessed day, a great week ahead. Enjoy the weekend. Remember, it's Fade the Public Friday. Do not be the pizza man. Okay, guys? We will see you next week.